Capitalism may be corrupt, but it is fundamentally democratic. ExxonMobil is going to court because they're trying to stop their shareholders from forcing a vote on more climate resolutions. This is exactly what I'm talking about when I say that BlackRock controls way too much of the stock market, because they are one of the top 3 shareholders in basically every company in the stock exchange. And the haters are like, bro, they don't even own those shares. They're using our money in our retirement account. Homie doesn't even understand finance. And they're all too small-brained to realize that the actual power of shares of companies is the voting power that those shares carry, not the money that they represent. Us poors are trained to think of stock markets and investing as all about the money. But to the rich and powerful, it's all about power and control. And that power and control is the voting rights that those shares represent. And this has been a big issue for oil companies lately. The same thing just happened at Shell, where a bunch of institutional investors all got together and forced them to make more climate resolutions. They did so only controlling 5% of Shell's stock. And that was enough to get a resolution into the vote where all of the shareholders could vote collectively on whether they thought Shell should adopt these new proposals. And now green activist investor Follow This is doing the same thing to ExxonMobil. ExxonMobil has made scope 1 and 2 commitments, but they want them to make scope 3 commitments. And Exxon doesn't want to do that. And so they are going to court to try to block the shareholders from getting this proposal on the ballot, so to speak. And in a surprise twist of people actually being good people, the case was originally appointed to Judge Reed O'Connor, who was an appointee of former Republican President George Bush, whose track record is exactly what you would imagine it would be. But then O'Connor actually recused himself from the case. He didn't say specifically why, but it was noted that he held ExxonMobil stock and his spouse had some financial ties as well. Right on, dude. That's how judges are supposed to work. So now it's going to be held by someone that was appointed by Trump. I mean, it's probably no coincidence that all of the oil companies are based in Texas, where all of the politicians and judges are also Republican and support the Texas oil industry. I don't know. Personally, I'm a little conflicted because the oil industry clearly pollutes the shit out of our world and has no regard for the ecosystems they fuck up and the oil spills they create. But greenhouse gas emissions are a little nebulous. And although we do have alternatives, like I don't know if we have enough alternatives to like really try to eradicate the oil and gas industry right away. All the alternatives that I'm aware of have some pretty serious climate problems of their own. I don't know. It's a complicated issue. I'm not here to talk about climate change. I am definitely not a scientist or an expert on climate change. Don't listen to me about that kind of shit. Because if I'm being honest about it, my biggest question about climate change is what the fuck happened to Nikola Tesla's files and where are they? Why are we digging up like tons of rare earth elements that are super limited and super toxic when no one's getting answers on this shit? So yeah, the next time some dumbass in the comments is like, BlackRock doesn't own the shares, tell them to go fuck themselves. It's all about voting rights in the stock market. And if you want to know more or see how you can get involved or contribute, followthis.org is the website of these activist investors that are taking on Exxon. It's easy to feel powerless in the modern world. It's easy to feel like capitalism is destroying everything. It kind of does sometimes. But it is fundamentally democratic, and there are ways for regular people to have voices in that system. And there are large groups working within that system to affect change. So capitalism may be corrupt as absolute fuck, but if I'm being honest, as far as I can tell, it's the best option we got because